Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to play Lahaina Luna. This is a song by Hawaiian songwriter Kui Lee, of course written about Lahaina, which of course we've all been keeping our eyes on and thinking about, keeping in our hearts as we support them from afar in any way we can in their long recovery ahead. Before we get to the tutorial, I want to mention along those lines, here in Portland, I've been curating and will be participating in a benefit concert and jam for the Maui Relief Fund as well as the Hawaiian Red Cross. That's going to be Friday, September 29th, 7 p.m. I'll be joined by a lot of local artists, most of whom have a personal connection to Hawaii and will be sharing Hawaiian music. So in addition to being an act of support, it's also going to be just a celebration of the people of Hawaii, the culture, its history, and of course this remarkable instrument that it gifted us. We are so grateful, and I really think it's time to honor that. Along those lines, later this fall, I'll be teaching a class of all Hawaiian songs and music. I'll include more information below about both of these events, the class and the show, and I'll probably have a separate post about the Hawaiian class at some point along the way. So let's get to the tutorial though. Lahaina Luna is going to be in the key of D. So of course you'll need your family of D, G, and A or A7. I'll play A7. Make sure you're familiar with those chords. Those are pretty standard. We're also going to add in a G minor chord, and we're going to get there from the G chord. So I'm going to show you how to get there here. Here's my G. Index, middle, and ring here on C and A on the 2nd fret, and then ring finger on the 3rd fret of E in the middle there. When I go to G minor, I'm going to leave my ring finger right where it is, and I'm going to take my index finger, move it back to the 1st fret of the A string, and put my middle finger where that index finger just was, on the 2nd fret of C. And now we have a beautiful minor chord. So again, regular G here. Essentially my 2 fingers here are swapping strings, but because it's a little bit more comfortable for the index to be on the 1st fret, that's where we're going to let it be. So make sure you're familiar moving from G to G minor. Feel free to pause and just go back and forth, and remember your ring finger is going to keep you anchored there as you do. The other new chord that's going to come in here that we don't typically see in the key of D is the E7 chord. And there my index finger's on the 1st fret of G, middle and ring are on the 2nd fret of C and A respectively. Alright, so be ready with those 5 chords. That's what we need for the tune. I think of this as an AABA song. We've got kind of a 1st stanza, 2nd stanza that are very similar, and then the 3rd stanza is totally different, the B part, right? And then we come back to the A section, which is very similar to the 1st, although you'll notice in this case it's got a little, I guess what I would call a coda, just a little variation to bring it to an end. So the 1st A stanza, we start on a bar of D, a bar of G, back to 2 bars of D, then 2 bars of A7, back to a bar of D, a bar of A7. Try that with a standard strum with me. Here we go. D, over to G, back to D, for 2, A7, to A7. So that's the 1st A stanza. 2nd one starts the same. To G, back to D. 2nd line to A7 again. Here's where it changes. 2 beats of G, 2 beats of G minor, resolve to D. So they're almost exactly the same, there's just a little bit of a different ending there. Again, that 2nd line of the 2nd stanza is A7 for 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, to G for 1, 2, G minor, 3, 4, back to D, 2, 3, 4. Let's put it all together now. D, to G, bar, G, G minor, D. Again, we need a little practice with that. D, G minor to D. Whew, I need a little review of that as well. So there's our second stanza. Feel free to pause, work that through as much as you need. When we get to the third stanza, we start over on G for 2, and then back to D for 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Here comes the E7, also for 2 bars, and A7 for 2 bars. And then we're back to the first stanza pattern. Let's add the strum on G, and 1, 2, to D for 1, 2, E7, 1, 2, A7, 1, 2. And sometimes for dramatic effect, I like to just hold out that last bar. I'll leave that up to you if you want to do that with me or not. When we come back to the last stanza, it's a little bit of a combination of the first 2 stanzas. It's significantly different. I mean, still fits into the same AABA pattern in my mind, but there's just more variation than we might otherwise find. What we'll do is we'll start off, it's going to sound a lot like the very first stanza. 1 bar of D, a bar of G, back to 2 bars of D, right? And then we've got 2 bars of A7, back to 2 bars of D. So we're not kicking back to the A7, we're staying there because extra line, A7 for 2 again, back to D for 2. All right, here's where it switches over to the second stanza pattern, A7 again for 2, then split the bar, G for 2, G minor for 2, back to D, then we do that one more time, A7 for 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, split the bar, G, G minor, and D. And then we're at the end of the form, end of the song. We'll probably play it 2 times through just to get a handle on it. So all together, that last stanza sounds like this. 2, starting on D, 1, 2, 3, 4 to G, back to D, for 2, A7, for 2, back to D, for 2, again, A7, for 2, D, for 2. Now here's the switch. A7 for 2 again. Split the bar here and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. A7 again. The last line here. Split the bar. And then you can end right on D. So again, great opportunity to pause, review any of the stanzas that you need, especially that G to G minor can really trip people up. Devote some time just to work on that, and then we will play it all the way through. All right, here we go. Let's play through Lahaina Luna by Kui Lee. If you need to review anything in the tutorial, check that out ahead of time. I'm just launching right in here on my D chord. In the tutorial, I was using a standard strum, which you're welcome to use. If you want to give it a little bit of an island feel, you can give a little calypso island strum to it. Whatever feels good. Let's just play through those chords once all the way through, then we'll go back and add the words. We'll start on D here. 1, G is 2, back to D for 3, 4, A7 is 5, back to D for 7, A7, 8. Start again, the second stanza, D to G, back to D for 3, 4, A7 for 5, 6, split the bar here, G, G minor, and D. Straight to the B section, G for 2, D for 2, E7 for 2, A7 also first one, A7, for 2, to D, also for 2, A7, to D. Rounding it out here, A7 again, but this time split the bar, G, G minor, to D, again, A7. Feel free to slow it down, make it dramatic, G, G minor, D, and we'll pause it there. Let's go back and add the lyrics. I'll add just one note here. You may have noticed when we get to splitting the bar, I break up my strum pattern and really make sure I emphasize each chord change with a full down strum. Feel free to do that along with me. Here we go, from the top one more time. We'll add the words. I am going to the island of the valleys, to Lahaina Luna, where the mountains are green. You will find me in Lahaina Luna. They say that Maui no ka'oi, and I agree, 'cause Maui no ka'oi is the only place for me. That's where you'll find me, down by the seaside, watching the moonlight, the twinkling starlight, the morning sunrise, the golden sunset in Lahaina Luna. Once more, in Lahaina Luna. Beautiful job, beautiful song. I love, love, love that one. Kui Lee is just one of my favorite Hawaiian songwriters. Not very well known, so look him up. Look up the rest of his music. Really lovely tunes. Nice job. Come on back, practice with me anytime you need. Make sure you're practicing without me, though. You want to make sure you can do it on your own. And as I always like to remind you, feel free to come on back, take out a layer. Don't sing, don't strum, don't chord, right? Make sure you have the layers in there that work for you, that you're trying to bring together. Feel free to take one of them out so you can really focus on the two of them together, or even just on one. You can just mute the thing, not strum at all, not sing at all, and just strum along with me the whole time as you need. So feel free to isolate whatever layers you want to work on. And of course, if I was going a little too fast for you, you can always check the settings wheel below to reset the playback speed to slow it down a little bit. Thank you so much for joining me, and see you next time.
Thank you so much for watching. If this video is helpful to you, please give it a like and subscribe below. It really helps the channel grow, and it lets you know when new videos have been posted. You might also consider becoming a member, which you can do at different levels, gets you different perks, and again, is a great way to say thank you and keep this channel going. Really appreciate your support. You can learn more about my work at averyhill.studio. Thanks so much.